In Chapter 4, we're going to be focusing on an introduction to fraction concepts. What make up fractions, how we can simplify them, some basic introduction, and then in Chapters 5 and 6, we'll move into adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So our first lesson is on equivalent fractions and simplest form. Equivalent fractions are two fractions that are equal to each other, and simplest form is a fraction where the only common factor between the numerator and denominator are 1. Simplest form just means I can't reduce the fraction any further. So, fill in the missing part to make the fractions equivalent. Well, here's how I like to do this. How does 6 become 12 by multiplication or division? And the answer, of course, is that you double it. So we're just going to do the same thing in the numerator. We're going to double 1. 1 times 2, the missing number is 2. In this other example, how does 12 become 3? Divide it by 4. So in the numerator, we'll do the same thing. We'll divide by 4. 4 divided by 4, of course, is 1. So that is 1/3. To simplify, write these fractions in simplest form, all we need to do is say, okay, ideally, what's the biggest number I can divide both 24 and 36 by? So let's say you realize that the biggest number we can divide them both by is 12. And instead of that, we're just going to say, okay, so I'm going to divide both of those by 12. 24 divided by 12 is 2. 36 divided by 12 is 3. 2/3 is simplest form, because 2 and 3 can't be divided by anything. Now, real fast, what if you didn't recognize that and you picked something else? Like 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. 36 divided by 4 is 9. You would have to look at 6 over 9 and say, hey, those can both be divided by 3. And since they can both be divided by something, you have to do that to get simplest form. And that would get us our 2/3. So you can do these in multiple steps if you need to. That's fine. Just make sure that when you tell me it's simplest, that you can no longer divide both numbers by something. 18 and 24, I would say 6 is what goes into both of those. 18 divided by 6 is 3. 24 divided by 6 is 4. There is nothing that comes out of both 3 and 4, so that's simplified. 20 and 64. I'm thinking, oof. You know what, let's just do 2, because they're both even. And if they're both even, I can definitely start with 2. It might not be enough, but it's a starting place. 20 divided by 2 is 10. 64 divided by 2 is 32. Yep, those are both still even. So we can divide that by 2 again. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 32 cut in half is 16. 5 and 16 now have no common factors, so that is simplest form.